This week is Mental Health Awareness Week. So what is mental health? Well, according to the Oxford Languages, mental health is a person's condition with regard to their psychological or emotional well-being. There are so many different types of mental health, such as anxiety, bipolar, depression, hypomania, paranoia, PTSD, schizophrenia, and stress. In recent years, footballers such as Tyrone Mings, Danny Rose, Joe Hart, Jermaine Genius, Gary Speed, Aaron Lennon, Paul Gascoigne, and Michael Carrick have spoken about their issues with mental health. Even sports stars like Tyson Fury have done the same. Here he is talking about his battle with depression.
Like I said, I was waking up and I didn't want to be alive. I was making everybody's life a misery. Everybody who was close to me was pushing away. Nobody could talk to me, talk any sense into me at all. And I'd go very, very, very low at times, very low. And I'd start thinking all these crazy thoughts and this, that and the other. And I was in my car. I bought a brand new Ferrari convertible in the summer of 2016. And I was in it and I was on the highway. And there's a strip of the highway where I am. And at the bottom of about a 5-mile strip, there's a massive bridge that crosses the motorway. And I knew that. And I got the car up to 190 miles an hour. I was heading towards that bridge. And I didn't care what no one was thinking. I didn't care about hurting my family, me career, people who friends, anybody. I didn't care. I didn't care about nothing. I just wanted to die so bad. I give up on life. And just as I was heading towards that bridge at 190 in this Ferrari, it had crushed like a Coke can, by the way, if I'd have hit it. I heard a voice say, "No, don't do this, Tyson. Think about your kids. Think about your family and your little boys and girls growing up with no father. And everyone saying your dad was a weak man. He left yous. He took the easy way out because he couldn't do anything about it." And before I turned into the bridge, I pulled on the motor and I was shaking. I could feel myself shaking, and I pulled over and I was all nervous and I didn't know what to do. And I was frightened and I was so afraid. And I thought, that day, I'll never, ever, ever try or think about taking my own life ever again. And I didn't.
There's one mental health condition in particular that people don't know much about: psychosis. Psychosis is when you perceive or interpret reality in a very different way from people around you. You might be said to lose touch with reality. The most common types of psychotic experiences are hallucinations, delusions, and disorganized thinking and speech. Psychosis affects people in different ways. You might experience it once, have short episodes throughout your life, or live with it for most of the time. One actor in particular has spoken about their issues with mental health.
David Harewood is an actor, presenter, and one of the most prevalent voices regarding mental health in the UK. Rising to Hollywood fame with his role in Blood Diamond, he then became a constant on our screens in the Emmy Award-winning drama Homeland and The Night Manager. Since then, he's opened up about his mental health struggles and has just released a new book, Maybe I Don't Belong Here.
Here he is talking about his battles with psychosis.
23 years old, when I came out of drama school, I had a psychotic breakdown. And a couple of years ago, I did a documentary called Psychosis in Me. I don't know if anybody saw it. But it was a documentary where I sort of try and find out why, kind of what happened. And I sort of went into it thinking, rather foolishly, thinking it was going to be a laugh. Because part of the things that happen, psychosis is a very strange mental health condition. The sort of the sort of nightmare parts of it are kind of preceded by real highs. And I did lots of very silly things and lots of very funny things and lots of crazy things, walking around London, singing to complete strangers, carrying old ladies' shopping bags. I mean, literally just walking the streets at 3 o'clock in the morning, talking to complete strangers.
And are you, in that moment, are you aware that you're behaving in, for you, an unusual way?
I knew it was sort of unusual, but it was so powerful.
Right.
That I thought, if I can control this,
right,
I'm onto something here.
Yeah.
But I did, one of the attributes of psychosis that you do have hallucinations and delusions. And I think I got so wrapped up in my delusions and hallucinations that I just lost control, and it was a very scary place to be.
What is that like, going from being 23, feeling full of energy, having these kind of amazing moments to that moment when you find yourself in a psychiatric ward? Is that,
well,
that must be terrifying.
It was. You know, there was parts of it that was in and out of lucidity.
Right.
And when it finally went nightmarishly wrong for me was, and I don't really remember this, but again, I said a couple of years ago, I did that documentary where I sort of investigated this, and I sort of found out that the morning I was sectioned, I was rushed by 6 policemen who sat on me for 2 hours while I was injected with enough tranquilizers to knock out a horse. And the documentary showed me how ill I was. And I was given an envelope which contained all the things I said and all the things I did when I was sectioned. And there was a part of the documentary where I was supposed to open this envelope and read some of the stuff, and it was so scary. When I opened the envelope, it was so scary. I just shut the envelope and thought...
You couldn't do it?
I said, cut, I can't do this.
Wow.
And I didn't open that envelope for 2 years, but when I started writing the book, I thought, I have to open this envelope.
Where were you when you did that?
I went back to Vancouver after the first lockdown and entered quarantine, and the first thing I did...
Wow.
On my own,
Wow.
first thing I did was take the envelope off the shelf, and I read it cover to cover.
And how do you go from that place, like you say, of lucidity, being in and out, of not quite knowing where you are in a psychiatric ward? How do you get better?
I can remember waking up in a mental institution. I couldn't move my hands. I couldn't, talking, like, I was so slow. I was trying to get my head together.
Yeah.
And it was the most disorientating experience I've ever had. But I sort of had my faculties.
Yeah.
So, I remember sort of thinking, my brother came to visit me, and I was clearly not well.
Yeah.
And I remember the theme in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, when they do. I was talking to my brother like this.
Yeah.
And he was like, he was horrified.
Yeah.
And he just said, Dave, if you want to get out of here, you've got to start acting normal. But I thought, I'm an actor. I can do that. I can act normal. So I just decided to myself, I'm going to start acting as normal as possible. So I sort of, every morning I'd get up and sort of try and brush my teeth and try and tidy my space and tidy my bed and try and talk to the nurses. I just really try to just keep all my the impulses to ask, why are you giving me this medicine? What's in this medicine? Why am I taking it? Because you do sort of act out when you're on these drugs. And I just decided to just try and bottle everything up, keep it all controlled, and just be as normal as possible.
So you acted your way out?
I acted my way out, yeah.
This is presumably part of the acting normal. The story with the calendar felt like a kind of a real moment when you you saw a goal that you could sort of fix.
I saw this calendar on the wall, and something about this calendar looked wrong. And I was staring at it. And it said Wednesday. But I knew that when they come around and give you your pills, they say, oh, here's your Wednesday pill, here's your Thursday pill. And I knew, the night before, she'd given me my Wednesday pill. So I thought, the calendar's saying Wednesday. She'd given me my pill on Wednesday. Today must be Thursday. So I sort of made my way towards this calendar thinking, I've got to change this date to prove that I'm sort of normal. So I kind of made my way over to this calendar and slotted out this Wednesday card, put the Thursday card in, and I saw the nurses going, oh, look, he's been very clever, Actually, 2 days later, they let me out. And one of the things that I've been amazed at is just how common it is. There's a huge stigma attached to psychosis.
Why is that?
Because it's the big scary one. It's the one they take you away.
Right.
People talk about depression. They talk about anxiety. They talk about bipolar. Nobody talks about, apart from me, nobody talks about psychosis because it is the one where you lose your mind.
Yeah.
And I've been very fortunate to sort of find mine again.
Yeah.
Come through that experience and go on to build a successful career. So the more I can go out there and tell people, look, you might have had psychosis, but it's not the end of the story. You can still go on to live a fulfilling life.
Yeah.
The more we get that message out there that it's recoverable.
David Harewood's new book, Maybe I Don't Belong Here, is out now. For more information on mental health, there's a BBC One documentary that's now on BBC iPlayer, Roman Kemp, Our Silent Emergency.